Hello everybody and welcome back to QuicksaveTV, your #1 source for insightful coverage on YouTube. Now today we're going to continue the QuickSave Daily, and this daily is going to be about the races in Skyrim. It's going to be an educational daily once again. First of all, before starting the actual daily, let me just go ahead and say thanks for your feedback and your support. I'm really grateful for that. Yesterday I asked you, as you remember, to go ahead and fill out the survey. Twice as many people filled the survey. This is awesome. I thank you so much feedback, so much warm words, and I love how you leave suggestions for Skyrim, for coverages as well. For Skyrim, for some other games, there were also suggestions, but regardless. The point of what I'm saying right now is thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Now, another announcement is that today is a Friday the 13th, and the postcard giveaway is concluded. every one of you who written what I asked are eligible for this. Now, the thing what you have to do now is, if you're interested in receiving an actual postcard, since you participate in it, I expect you would be, you need to send me your mailing address to which I should mail the postcard on QuicksaveTV@gmail.com. Once you do that, you will, you're concluded, you're done. From all 5 people, only one of them have sent me the address, and it's Lord Elfian. I'm not going to say anything else. None of your business what the name of the guy is. Awesome subscriber. One of the oldest subscribers. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I was really surprised to find out where he actually is. But I'm not going to tell you. For this is a big secret. And you do not yet possess the understanding to find out. So, I don't even know what it means. What am I trying to do? I should show this Russian accent up my butthole and just stop talking. Now, races in Skyrim. Let's begin by talking about the lore a little bit. So, I'm actually in a very weird pose right now. I hold in the keyboard like this, and I hold on this. You would expect me to sit on a chair, right? But I actually don't. And because there's such a small distance between me and the web camera, you just cannot imagine what I'm doing right now. And also, I'm wearing a really colorful shirt. Manga level. I should go higher. So yes, I'm in a really good mood today. So let's go ahead and discuss the races in Skyrim. I hope you will be able to learn something interesting from this today. So, lore-wise, all the races are different. And you know that. You probably know that because the Skyrim was out for a while. If you just bought the game and you never played the Elder Scrolls games before, races in Skyrim, in Oblivion, in general, the Elder Scrolls games, they're very different, and they all have their history. Some of them they have very unexpected twists. Like, I'm not going to go into detail about this, but if you're interested, we can dedicate some days specifically to these discussions. It would be really interesting to talk about, actually, because I'm really fascinated by some of the stories, specifically Postmer and Nord stories, very interesting. And, all the others are not boring or dull as well. So, if you want to play any specific race and you don't really care about effectiveness, you should go ahead and shoot for it. Not a problem. You should go ahead and use the race you like. You like to play as a Hajit, go ahead play Hajit. You like Redguards, go play as Redguard. Don't think in a vacuum like, oh my god, Nords have the high resistance against frost. And we're in Skyrim, which is land of Nords, so I'm playing a Nord. Play what you like, play what you enjoy. Because all the races, majority of races, have unique dialogue options, and it's so interesting to find out. For example, even when you fight against bandits, for example, if you're a Nord, they're gonna say, you're a disgrace to your own kind. It doesn't even sound like a Nord, but anyway, you're a disgrace to your own kind. If you're a Hajit, they're gonna say, you're gonna make a fine rug, cat, and it's just fun. It's just interesting how they came up with these things. Now, next, so now that we're done about the general understanding, let's talk a bit about effectiveness and, whys and whats. Essentially, races is the base and the foundation on which you build your character. Because of the way races are in Skyrim, the way they operate, it's not important of what you grow out of a specific race. What I'm saying is that you can easily take an orc and make a mage out of an orc. Easily. And he will not have difficulties with that. He'll be a damn fine mage. You're gonna tear apart everything, even on master difficulty. Not a problem. You have to keep that in mind. It's not that, oh my god, Altmers, they're so good in magic, and there's like no one that can fight against them. In my opinion, Nord, Breton, or Dunmer, each of them would perform better with magic than Altmer, just because of their resistances. That's my opinion. Whereas Altmer will have, oh, I have my damn high magicka. You'll be like, oh, I have my resistances, and I give a rat's ass about your damage. So you have to understand the way it works and what do you want to do with it. But you don't have to think like, oh, thieves, I have to play as a Hajit or Argonian. No, it's not the case. You can make a damn fine warrior with a Hajit, believe me, or with Argonian, not a problem. It's just your stubbornness and what you want to do. Now that we finished this blubbering for 6 minutes, we just have to continue to, let's talk about, first, I divided them on several groups. I have 3 groups: resistances and situational resistances, as well as abilities. In abilities we have all the races, and resistances we have some races that have resistances. Generally, I prefer resistances over something else. Even though you would say, oh Mike, you're kind of defensive, but what about your fight with a giant, one-on-one, when you just tore apart the giant with an iron dagger? I'm gonna tell you, it's just, even though I'm an aggressive player, I like to have these additional resistances, because they save up the space on enchantments, and it feels more comfortable. So now, anyway, my favorite races, and the ones I always recommend for any class whatsoever, it's Dunmer, Dark Elves, Breton, and Nord. For the same reason, they each have resistances. Dunmer, or Dark Elves, they have 50% fire resistance. Nords have 50% frost resistance. Breton have 25% magic resistance, which what that means essentially is that you will be able to have this additional resistance from the beginning of the game, and you will be able to perform better against the mages and against dragons, which is really, really important and crucial to be successful, to be good in the game from the beginning. Essentially, that would mean that you can fight against dragons sooner, especially as a Dunmer, because you already have this resistance. You can just be a stubborn bastard and just go ahead and fight the dragons right away, because you will have already resistance. And dragons will not be able to burn you to ashes as they would with other races. Now, situational resistances, which are resistances, but I consider them useless. Very useless, actually. So, situational resistances are Argonian, Bosmer, or Wood Elves, and Redguard. Argonians have 50% resistance to disease, Redguards have 50% poison resistance, and Bosmer have 50% to both poison and disease resistance. Now, although you would say that there are some enemies in the game that are very strong on poisonous attacks, and specifically when we talk about Falmer, the elven kind and the underground, right? The blind enemies in the game. They are very tough to fight against when you don't have either poison resistance, else when you fight them in close combat. But again, it's just that there are no really poisonous dragons in the game. And Falmer are much weaker than the dragons. Falmer is a situational combat. It's not that you fight against them every time, and it's just... Essentially, you would just suffice when you reach high enough enchanting, which I suggest for any class. I always suggest enchanting for any class. You can just create yourself some rings or amulet, which will allow you to fight against Falmers effectively, and will allow you to have 40% poison resistance, which is more than enough. But taking a race just to have a poison resistance at all times, when you don't really fight anyone who's poisonous, keep in mind, you're not in a Black Marsh, we're in Skyrim. It's the Nord's land. Nobody's here really poisonous. There's very few creatures in the game that are poisonous. Spiders, Falmers, these watchdogs, how do you call them? These crabby crabs. That said, what, you're gonna take a race with a poison resistance just for that? Why? What's the point? When mages are almost everywhere. Falmer have mages. Bandits have mages. Falmor are mages. Dragons are essentially mages. And another race, I just forgot it. Shit, bandits. Bandits are mages. There are mages among bandits. Witches are mages, essentially. Hagravens are mages. You see how many examples? How many of them are poisonous again? Oh, not so damn many, isn't it? Now that we talked about it, let's continue to the abilities. We're just gonna run down through all the races, and I will be not biased in that. I'll just tell you what it is, and then give you some of my opinion and my feedback, and tell you how you would be able to use it. Call me a stubborn SOB, but I don't use any of them. I never use abilities. Yes, they look cool. Yes, they have great animation. Like, for example, the Nord's ability, when he makes this shout, and it's like, roar, you know. It's very cool, but I don't use them. I just don't find them so useful, and I don't rely on them. They are certainly useful, but this limitation to use them once a day is really, really, really situational, and, you know, I totally live without it. Altmer. Plus 50 Magicka at all times, and Highborn ability, which allows you to regenerate Magicka faster, once a day for 60 seconds. All of the abilities are once a day for 60 seconds, except for Magicka 50, but it's always at all times. Very nice, 50 additional Magicka, I really like it, I cannot say anything against it, which makes an Altmer probably very good solution for a mage. You know, better solution for a mage. But again, Altmer doesn't have any resistances, so get over it. You have some more Magicka, but what do you really need? Do you really need some additional Magicka when essentially later on you'll be able to cast almost non-stop? Or non-stop if you're exploiting the game? And do you really need the Highborn ability with a higher Magicka regeneration? Of course, you could say, like, in very tough fight, combat, you could just use this ability, utilize this additional regeneration of magic, and just tear the enemy to shreds. Good way of thinking. That's how you should think. But still, I just don't feel that it's essentially pure damage. I would suggest that it's the strongest magician for the pure damage. But always, you know, wits over brawl. Don't forget that. It's very important. Argonian, Hist Skin, regeneration of health increased dramatically. Now, this is probably the craziest ability in the game. Essentially, once a day, Argonian can use this additional heal, which will allow you for 60 seconds to really, really regenerate quickly. All you have to do is just run away from the enemy and you'll be fine. Very powerful ability for any melee class, especially if you don't want to rely on restoration. But it's just once a day, so don't give it too much thought. Bosmer, Command Animal. I really don't feel that it's a particularly useful ability. Yeah, blah, 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 bish, Command Animal. Who gives a rat's ass? Not so often do you fight against animals, and not so often do you get a situation where you can actually control an animal to kill another animal. For example, really tough animals, such as frost wolves, such as saber cats, such as bears, majority of the time, not always, but majority of the times appear solo against you. And you don't really encounter so many of them at the same time to fight against them effectively. And plus, just once a day, and although it's a nice ability, it's so situational, unlike Hist Skin or Highborn, that it's essentially useless. You always have to remember with an ability how useful it is. Against how many enemies will I be able to use it? Well, Command Animal doesn't allow you to use it against them many foes, whereas the Nord's ability, Battle Cry, which scares off freaking everyone from the battlefield, works against everyone, whereas the Command Animal works only against that. The Highborn regeneration Magicka from Altmer will allow you to regenerate Magicka in combat against any creature, whereas Bosmer will only excel in a battle with animals or where animals are close, so outside preferably. My opinion, waste of time. And generally I just call people Bosmers, the people that piss me off. I have a good friend in university with me. He's a great guy, and we sometimes discuss stuff in Skyrim. I just don't realize what happened with him. He just stopped being there. Sorry for this, had to cut at this point. What was I talking about? Yeah, and so we discuss stuff with him often, and when he was in university. Now I think he changed the university or just stopped studying. I just have no idea. And we would talk about stuff, and whenever I would disagree with him, I was like, you stupid Bosmer, what to talk to you about? It would be just so fun. Well, anyway, it's just me. In-game, I believe they are, again, not so damn useful. But again, they have the poison and disease resistance, which should be considered. But the animal, when we talk only about ability, Command Animal is pretty damn useless, in my opinion. Then we have the Breton, which have Dragon Skin, which have 50% spell absorption. Now, this is damn crazy. If you have a Standing Stone of Atronach, which you can hear about in detail in the previous QuickSave Daily, you essentially can once a day have 100% spell absorption. Take that, you Altmer son of a Bosmer. Well, that would be really fun, eh? So essentially, Breton has very, very strong ability, in my opinion, against anything that uses magic, which is most of the creatures in the game, which is unbelievable, and most of the strong creatures in the game. in the game. Very powerful ability. Jesus, seriously, if you're a mage, or even if you're a warrior heal, or even you are a paladin, or a sentinel, whatever you are, and you use magic, this is unbelievable. Very, very strong counter to anything the enemy has to throw at you. Excuse me for that. Dunmer. Ancestor's Wrath, which essentially is a fire cloak. I love the name of the ability. Ancestor's Wrath. Beware! You're going to hear the Ancestor's Wrath. But again, do you really need a fire cloak? It's not the strongest fire cloak in the game, essentially, but it's for 60 seconds. I think all of them are like this, but the point is that it's very situational, but the resistance of Dunmer very, very compensates for it. It's not a problem. You know, you don't really need this fire cloak ability. It's not so powerful. It's just average DPS ability if you are a melee warrior or a rogue when enemies are essentially close to you, or you're a ranger and enemy got close to you, or you're essentially whenever enemies are close to you and you expect to be close for them as well for some time, but not so damn good, really. It's very simple, but resistances make up for it, just so you know. Then we have Imperial, Voice of the Emperor, plus Imperial Luck. Now I have to say that's probably the most ridiculous abilities in the game, least useful. Although I would say Voice of the Emperor is fine, you know, it's okay. You just calm down the enemies around you. But I seriously, I really don't care about it. What I care about is the actual damage dealing or survivability. Imperial has none of it. You can argue that you calm down the enemies and you retreat, reposition yourself and blah blah blah, but come on, are you serious? You have to, go through all this trouble to kill the enemies, whereas if you would be an Argonian, you really get this quick boost right now, right here, as an orc, as a Redguard, you get this boost right there, right here. You don't have to do anything. Here you're like, calm down, you people, for I shall slaughter you later. Who gives a damn? It's just not even serious. I don't find it very useful. And the Imperial Luck? Seriously? Some more coins in chests? You don't have enough money in Skyrim? Well, you probably didn't see my money guide, did you? With the price per pound or price per kilo. Oh yes, you have to see that, absolutely. I'm probably gonna talk about it in one of the dailies to come. Useless. Waste of, I don't know. Better than Bosmer, but still very crappy. Then we have Khajiit, Eye of the Night, and Claw attacks. Essentially, both are very situational and useless again. I mean, how much would you care about the claw attacks if essentially later on your weapons completely replace the claws and there's no hand-to-hand combat in the game? If there would be a hand-to-hand skill, or if you use a mod with hand-to-hand skills, then yes, Khajiit would be a vital decision, you know, because they're the only race that have bonus to attack. But that's it, you know. The attack with claws, yes, in the beginning of the game, it's very powerful attack, much stronger than the sword in the beginning of the game, or even an axe or a mace. But later on, just very soon, once you reach steel, it just replaces, absolutely, and you cannot use it anymore. And Eye of the Night, very nice roleplay ability, and completely logical that Khajiit see in the dark, but Jesus, it's very situational, and most of the times, there are sources of light in rooms, and it prevents you from using it effectively. So again, I think it's a waste of time, waste of work, and you're gonna be like, he's lying. They'll be like, he's playing Khajiit all the time. He started with Khajiit, he played Khajiit in Oblivion. He's lying about something. This suspicious Russian guy, he is certainly lying about something, doesn't tell you something. Well, I'm telling you everything. I think it's crappy. The reason I play Khajiit because they're cute and they're awesome. They have these funky ears, and I'm gonna play Khajiit. Now, next, Nord. Battle Cry. A very powerful ability to send your enemies retreating from you, but again, it's just retreating. It's a little bit more useful than the Imperial calming down, in my opinion, because it makes the enemy run away from you. But it's very useless. But the resistance makes up for it. 50% frost resistance makes up for it, and you just never will use the battle cry when you get your resistances up. You will just not need to run away from your enemies. Then we have the Orc's Berserker Rage, which reduces the damage to you and increases the damage 2 times. I think in both cases. It reduces 2 times and increases 2 times. Yeah, I'm pretty much sure. At least about damage output, I'm sure about it. Anyway, very strong and powerful ability for any kind of physical damages. So you can be warrior, you can be assassin, whatever you like. But just for 60 seconds for 1 day. Very powerful ability, but Orc doesn't have any resistances. And very, very nice decision for any physical attacker, but it just doesn't feel comfortable so much. It's very strong ability, don't get me wrong, but he doesn't have any resistances or side abilities. Then we have closing the Skype, because we're busy right now. And then we go to the Red Guard, the last but not least, Adrenaline Rush. Quick stamina regeneration, extremely quick stamina regeneration for 60 seconds. Again, very nice, especially if you're dual wielding. Wink wink to the Ravager class. But, you know, again, no additional 50% poison resistance. Pretty good class, pretty good race, but yeah, well, pretty good race. That's about it. It's just nice, nice regeneration of stamina and nice 50% poison resistance, but I'm just not in my taste, essentially. If you like to use, again, all the races boil down to you just need to select what you really like. Don't necessarily listen to me. I'm just here to give you ideas. You want the ugly truth? The most effective classes races will be Dunmer, Breton, and Nord. Why? Because their resistances will be effective at all times, not just 60 seconds a day. And then, in conclusion, I'm just gonna say that, you know, it was damn great to have you here. I really enjoyed to tell it to you. I hope you learned something from me. I hope it was reasonably enjoyable, because it takes so much goddamn time, you know, to tell this, and I just hope it's worth it. I hope you learned something from me and you enjoy it. I want to have you here back. Don't forget to subscribe if you would like to get notified about new dailies, and check out my other videos on the channel. You should like them. I hope you're gonna like them. They're tutorials. I put a lot of passion for them and time. I just hope you like them. I thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day and good luck in Skyrim. Oh, and don't forget the home task for tomorrow. Stop using your secondary, most important secondary skill. It can be for mages, something melee. It can be for warriors, something ranged. It can be for ranged warriors, something melee. So forget about your secondary skill. It can be restoration, two-handed, one-handed, whatever is secondary to you, not the primary. And start using something else. And tell me about what you found out until tomorrow. But be quick about it, because I don't have so much time. If there's going to be no comments, I'll just assume that you're lazy asses and extend the time for the home task. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day and stay tuned for more content. It was a great pleasure having you here. Bye-bye.